Hello everyone, welcome back to another pick a card reading. I know I have not done one of these in a very long time. I've actually been doing them on Patreon, and I just wanted to take a second to thank all my Patreon members for troubleshooting this out with me. And you can skip ahead if you don't care about these updates, but basically what's been going on is that I've been trying to be able to film pick a cards here in my home. Before, if you've seen my past video on like how I film my videos, you could see how much of a big setup I had to do to film a pick a card on at my studio and using the old camera that I was using. And I love making pick a cards, but I do not love the setup. So I have been testing camera after camera, audio recording thing after audio recording equipment, and all of my beautiful Patreon members have been bearing with it as I figure it out, but I think I've finally got it all perfect, so we have more pick a cards in the future. So please let me know if you like the look of this, if you can hear me okay. Still kind of working out the kinks, but I was happy enough with it to kind of get it up and all to you. So if you are new here, welcome. Please subscribe. Although pick a card readings are not my main thing, I would like to make more of them. But I mostly am on my channel here teaching you all about psychic development and how to grow your psychic abilities. One of the things that I've decided is I wanted to make a New Year's resolution to kind of just focus more on creating content that I love. And if you are on Patreon, you probably saw my New Year's video. And if you're not on Patreon, you can jump on over there. I kind of talked about how I manifested the things that I did this year, how I kind of went about doing that, what tools I used, and kind of how I'm setting up new manifestations for next year. But one of the things I really wanted to do was I want to make more content. I want to upload more videos more often. For those of you who've been not paying attention, I've basically been filming my newest psychic development masterclass course the last couple months. And so because of that, I've kind of had to slow down my YouTube uploads, and you all have probably seen that. But I just like miss creating, and it's not even like coming from a place of like, oh, I need to get up videos to get my views up or anything like that. It's like, no, I'm so excited about the content that I make, and I get so creative, and I get in this zone of like, oh, I should make this and I should make that. And basically for next year, I'm hoping that you're going to see a lot more content from me. I want it to be every week you have something. However, I'm going to commit to every other week. And when I have the time, the space, the creative energy, I will make more content. So some weeks you might have way more from me. Maybe I'm busy, and other weeks you might only get, one video from me. So just wanted to let you know kind of what the new goal is for 2023 on my channel. Again, if you want to see more of that, check out my New Year's video that I made on Patreon. Now today we are going to be talking about the year 2023. I did one of these last year at the very end of the year for 2022. I would actually recommend going back and watching that after this one just to see if it aligned with basically your whole year and if you feel like the themes were present. Maybe there's some lessons in there that you might not see, but like kind of looking back at that reading, maybe you can kind of see the story and what was happening this year. So if you are new to pick a card readings, how they work is you are going to choose either pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3, and you're just going to ask the question, what is 2023 going to look like for me? Which pile is meant for me? So I'm going to give you all a few seconds here to meditate and choose a card. Use your intuition here. You can go off of the imagery, you could go off the number, you could go off of the emojis in the description down below. But go ahead and ask, which card represents my 2023? All right, welcome back. This is pile number 1. And first I just want to start with the theme of 2023. And we have Father Christmas. This is my new Yule deck, so it's kind of themed for Christmas time, Yule time, midwinter. And even though it's so funny because I was side tangent, I was reading at a Christmas party literally last night, and I did this same kind of like reading for everyone that didn't have a question. I asked them like, hey, what's 2023 gonna look like for you? And I did like a 3-card spread on it, and so many people got this theme for 2023. So I am not surprised at all that it's popping up again. And kind of how I describe this card, like think of Father Christmas, Santa Claus, Saint Nick in a symbolic way. You know, he is somebody who gives to others. He's a gift giver. And this card to me is all about not giving too much. So 2023 might, pile number 1, be all about making sure to kind of like rein your energy in, not give too much of yourself, but also give to yourself. So to me, this is like not signing up for so much in regards to like your time and energy, not over giving of yourself to others to a point that you're like burnt out, but also like making sure you give time and energy to yourself, like filling up your own cup. That's what I think this card is all about. So with that being our theme for 2023, basically what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull a card for each month. I'm kind of modifying the Wheel of the Year spread to make it a little shorter from the last time that I did this. So each of these cards is going to represent a different month in 2023. So you might get out a piece of paper and a pen, pull out like your journal or your calendar that you use so that you can take notes on what the theme of each of these months are going to be like. And I purposely only pulled from the major arcana cards for these months. So you're only going to see major arcana cards. So first off, January, we have the Chariot. This to me makes so much sense. The Chariot is all about picking a new direction. You know, we might be starting off the year fresh and new, and we're like, which way do I want to go? We might be resetting goals. We might be resetting intentions. We might be, you know, further affirming, yes, this is the way I want to head. Or you might be deciding, you know what, I'm completely pivoting into something new and different. And then we have February over here, and we have the World card. And this to me is all about like endings, things being done with, chapters closing. So I feel like there might be a little bit of residual energy coming from 2022 of like resetting your goals and then finally closing out chapters, like finishing up projects, moving from one chapter of your life into the next. So February might feel like a little bit of an in-between where you're stepping from one new space into the next, and it might feel a little bit jarring. You might be ready to get from point A to point B, but just remember to wrap things up in the month of February so you feel like you can fully close out anything that is done, anything that's no longer serving you. And then we have March. And March we have the High Priestess. And so what I'm feeling like here is that your intuition is going to be really spot on and is really going to be your ally this month. The High Priestess is somebody who taps into their intuition, who knows all the mysteries of the universe, and really uses that intuition to their benefit. Honestly, like coming from February, what it feels like is you're opening up new chapters. You're not quite sure what the future looks like. So you're just kind of feeling things out. And you might have to rely on your intuition quite a bit to navigate what steps are next. And then we have April. And April is all about boundary setting. I'm hearing too from Spirit that you're taking small steps. Like this feels like you're building up to something. Like I'm definitely getting that energy. You're wrapping things up, you're closing the chapter, you're open to new things that are coming in, you're just kind of feeling it out. And then you're going to set some boundaries up of, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to be. I'm ready to kind of move forward within this structure. And then we have, I didn't explain that very well in detail. Let me go back to the Emperor, sorry. The Emperor to me is all about, it's about having the abundance, but putting the boundaries around it. Like the Emperor in the traditional tarot, he's like sitting in a garden. The Empress card comes before him, and she's manifested this beautiful garden, but it's like crazy. It's unruly. It's grown everywhere. The Emperor comes in and puts boundaries around it, puts restrictions around it. So in this month, you might find that you're having to set up a lot of boundaries, maybe at work, maybe with your time and energy, with people that are all around you, so that you can kind of take better care of yourself and move forward towards this vision of whatever you're manifesting. And then I feel like we're starting to see it come to fruition in, May? Because the Justice card is like the scales are being balanced. We're seeing kind of an equilibrium be hit. I feel like the work of whatever you're trying to put in, and I should keep referencing this card because this is our theme of the year. It's really making sure that you are dedicating enough time for yourself. And I feel like when you set these boundaries in place in the month of April, by May, you're really going to see this new kind of balance of, wow, if I take care of myself, if I say no to the things I don't want to do, if I put my time and energy into these things because I want to, I'm going to see the reward for what I've done. I'm seeing very much like whatever energy you're putting in, you start to see what comes out of it by this month. And then we have June. And we have the Death card. That's interesting. Okay. Honestly, you guys, I feel like things are going to be moving pretty quickly in the first half of the year because the Death card is also about endings, but it's like good endings. I feel like you kind of are quickly manifesting something. It's coming to fruition. Bam, I'm done manifesting it. Now I'm ready to move on to the next chapter again. It almost feels like this would have been like a whole year, but condensed into like 3 or 4 months. So this to me says very fast-paced energy in the first half of the year. You're going to see a lot of manifestations pan out, but I think it's all because you're really taking the advice to prioritize yourself, your time and your energy, say no to the things that don't work, and I just feel like such quick energy. Yeah. I lost my train of thought there, but okay, I'm going to pull cards for the next 6 months now. And now we're jumping into the second half of the year, starting with July, and we have the Devil. The Devil always freaks people out, but really this card is about fear. It's about chaining yourself to fear and realizing that you are the one who can step out of that narrative and move on into the next thing and not let fear hold you back. We see it as something outside of us, as this devil, but really it's something that we can control. And honestly, y'all, I feel like the first half of the year is going to be so fast for you and it's going to work out well, and you might be in this zone of maybe things manifested so quickly, now what? Or maybe you had manifestations not quite pan out and you're really disappointed and you're burnt out because this is the theme of this year. And you might have to really struggle in July with just all of this. It's the fears around, well, what happens if I don't commit? What happens if I don't give all my time and energy to this thing? I think you're really going to have to reevaluate kind of the theme of what we're talking about this year, of not giving too much of yourself and realizing what fears are holding you back. And I did shuffle these original cards back in because I think that it gives a more accurate reading. And then we have the Justice card again for August, right? Yes. And I think the hard work will have paid off in July. I feel like in August, you might have slowed down. You might have said, okay, reassessing, evaluating, rebalancing. I'm hearing like Mercury retrograde, like when planets are in retrograde, you're having to relearn lessons that you've already learned. And they're a lot harder the second time they come around, but the more often they come around, the easier and easier it gets. And I feel like that's why there's this theme this year. You're constantly remembering, no, have to put myself first, have to make sure I give to myself just as much as everyone else. And then we have September, the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like I just kind of saw someone like flailing through the dark. And with September, there might not be a lot of direction. You might not see the outcomes. You feel like, you know, you're putting in all of this work. I'm really saying no to not giving away my time and energy. And that might feel really scary. So in September, it feels like I'm just hearing like you're not in control, but it's not that you aren't. It's just that you can't see what's coming next. And that fear of, oh shoot, what's happening next, I think that is kind of throwing you off more. But I think the message here is stick to your guns. Remember to keep giving to yourself. Like what I'm really seeing is somebody like cutting back on their workload, and then September comes around and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make any money. Oh my gosh, you're like falling into those old fears again. And then you're having to remind yourself, no, this is still important. Putting me first is still important. I'm just actually scared because I don't know what's coming next, but I'm not going to let that like derail me. And then we have October. Interesting. We have the Fool card. So October, I actually feel like you're embracing this energy a little bit more, because with the Fool is a little bit more naive, a little bit more like, heck yeah, gung-ho, let's do it, new beginnings. I kind of feel like the second half of the year is going to be a lot slower for you, pile one, just because like I feel like the first half of the year, and it's really not that first, it's kind of just like the end chunk of those cards. You were doing, and now you're embracing the stepping back, giving to yourself. And because of that, things might be a little bit slower, but by this month, October, you're kind of learning to go with the flow. You're enjoying the fact that you don't know. You're enjoying that you're giving yourself time and space and energy, and that time is not necessarily like filled with anything. Love it. And then in November, we have the Judgment card. And for the majority of you, I feel like this is the month where you see all the hard work of the year pay off. Like you really start to see, like I'm seeing several things, like somebody out there is having like medical issues, and because you took the time to take care of yourself all of this year, by November, like things are going to get a lot better for you, like medically. But the Judgment card also reflects what you put out. So if you really had a rocky year, if you don't kind of heed the advice, maybe you self-sabotage, maybe you don't put in that balance, you give way, way more than you actually take for yourself. Maybe by November, there's so much burnout that things kind of fall apart here. So it can go either way. Judgment is a reflection on whatever you put in, you get back out. And then by December, stop it. I love this. This is the Empress card. And I feel like even if you're learning some hard lessons here in November, by December, you are going to look back and just feel totally in charge of your energy, especially in regards to like how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, like wherever this touches your life. It could touch, you know, your work, it could touch relationships, it can touch your health. And this is really like, where do you give way more than you should be, and where do you need to give to yourself? And I feel like by the end of the year, this is like a year of very personal like growth and giving to yourself and understanding that you are the queen, you're the empress, and you really need to give that to yourself if you want to manifest, if you want to do things, if you want to be healthy, if you want to be happy. You're finally understanding that this is an inside game and it requires you to put in this work. And it's hard work, and it requires a lot of like willpower and faith. And I think that's kind of like where you're going to be this next year, is really learning that lesson. And maybe you already feel like, you know, you understand this, but maybe this is like a whole new level. You take this to a whole new level, and this is you at the end sitting on the abundance because you put yourself first. you are sitting on all of these pomegranates, and the pomegranates are representations of abundance. This could be money, family, you know, a new baby, whatever it is you're trying to manifest, like a new house. You're going to realize that because I put me first, I manifested the things that I wanted this year. Maybe not everything, but you're at least understanding I am the key to this success. Awesome. I love this year for you. So next I'm going to pull just some more oracle cards to get a little bit more information about this upcoming year. So the first thing I want to ask is kind of like, what is the major obstacle of 2023? And this is believing in your own magic. I feel like this year, like 2022, this was the lesson that I learned. And you are all really about to see this for yourselves next year in 2023. Because the magic card is realizing that your intentions create your reality. And when you use your intentions to take care of yourself and give yourself what you need, that is only going to help you manifest the things that you want. And it's almost going to feel like magic. It's almost going to feel like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I just manifested that like nobody's business. But this is also an obstacle because sometimes we don't believe in our own magic. Sometimes we believe that we have to overwork ourselves, overburden ourselves, give so much of ourselves, and that every hour that is spent, you only get an equal amount worth back. You know what I mean? And really the challenge here for you next year is realizing, no, I can believe that I can expand, I can get better, and I don't have to work hard for it. I don't have to, you know, burn out over it. I have the potential to do this. And I think your ability to believe in yourself and believe in your intentions is going to be the biggest obstacle for you next year. So next I'm asking, what's the overall advice for 2023? I love these cards. And you got possibility. Raise your standards, elevate your expectations. You have unlimited potential. I feel like I basically just said that. So for 2023, this is all about believing that you can do more. And I feel like, again, this theme of like, where do you give your time and energy really needs to be remembered, because you can't raise those standards or that possibility or the hope and believe in your own magic, you know, if you're not giving yourself the time and the energy to do that. You know what I mean? So next I want to ask, how do we thrive? How do we thrive in 2023? Ooh, interesting. And we got the friendship card. Seek out your soul family, surround yourself with positive people, spend more time socializing. So honestly, y'all, 2023 might be a moment of really cleaning house with relationships. You know, a lot of those months, maybe some of the challenges you're facing of like giving too much, maybe you're realizing, wow, I have a lot of relationships where I give and give and give, and I don't get that back. And, you know, as I'm talking, I'm seeing like a few of you might be going through relationship breakups, friendship breakups. I'm seeing like more boundaries definitely being set with family. I've seen that a couple times. Really be mindful of your tribe. That's how you can thrive. Who are you surrounding yourself with? And it's not even like friends. It can also be like the things that you watch, the social media that you follow. Like, what is that saying and how is that reflecting back at you? You know, making sure that everyone and everything around you are kind of supporting you, your time, and your energy. And I am going to pull two more cards here. The first one, I want to ask, how can you manifest in 2023? No matter what it is, what should you keep in mind for being able to manifest? Star is what we got. Follow the stars, for they know best. Not too light, not too dark, a shimmer of what is coming next. So the star card, like, think of it, I think it's in Christianity, the Star of David. And the people, when Jesus is born, they follow the Star of David. And I don't even know if that's correct, but I do not know Christian stuff very well. However, the star card is like, what is your guiding star? This card is actually about intuition. It's about that inner knowing. It's about where is your North Star guiding you? And so it's constantly making sure that your intentions are clear. So whenever you're trying to manifest anything in 2023, you might have to stop and say, what's guiding me? Where's my compass pointed north? Like, where's my compass pointed? Where is this star like leading me? Where is this vision, this manifestation leading me? And you might realize that at times that intention is like, oh, well, I need to people please. Oh, I need to give my time and energy to somebody else. So when you can recorrect, further identify, you know, again, that intention, what's guiding you and making sure that it is in alignment with you, that's how you're going to manifest. Intention is huge for you this next year. And the last card that I wanted to pull, because we talk about intuition and the psychic ability a lot here, is how can you best use your intuition next year? Ooh, and we got the poinsettia. Ooh, I love it. I had to look this one up in the book because this is a new deck. And the poinsettia is all about beauty and darkness, transformation, and shadow work. So this to me is about going inward. So this year, we've kind of seen there's going to be a lot of like moments of realizing I need to pull back, I need to set boundaries, I need to give more to myself than I do for others. And so how you can use your intuition, your psychic ability, is for doing that work. It's for doing the shadow work. It's for realizing in these moments, I need to give more to myself. I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to get out of this relationship. I don't know how to tell my boss that XYZ. Like, it's using your intuition, your psychic abilities to get information in those dark places. I shouldn't say dark places as much as like when you're really going through it and you need advice, instead of throwing it under the rug, ignoring it, putting it in the closet, it's asking yourself, how can I use my intuition to find solutions to what I'm going through at any point in 2023? Awesome! I freaking loved that reading. I hope you all did too. I hope that 2023 is a fantastic year for you all. I do have all the decks linked down below that I used today. Feel free to subscribe for more psychic development tips and hopefully some more readings that are coming up. Join us on Patreon as well. Patreon, you get exclusive access to videos. You also get early access to these. We have monthly Q&As. We do monthly live nights. I actually do a group reading every single month. So like if you want to know what January is going to be like for you, or February, or any of these months, I do a group reading for everybody in Patreon every single month. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you ever want to book a private reading with me, go ahead and do so on my website. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Alrighty, welcome back, pile number 2. We are going to take a look at the theme that you have for 2023. Okay, I told the first group this, but like last night I did a party, like a Christmas party, and I did this spread for like people that didn't have questions. And I kind of asked, oh, what's your 2023 looking like, so that they might know. And there were 2 cards that I kept pulling over and over and over again. And pile number 1 got that first card, and pile number 2, you got the second card. So like this is definitely like a theme for the collective that I'm getting. And that is perseverance. So these cards are a little bent from my shuffling, but the perseverance card to me is all about understanding that 2023, you might like have some dry spells. You know, you might have to really push through in the moments where you can't see what's coming next, where it feels like, you know, you're just grasping in the darkness. But the point here with 2023, there's going to be a lesson in understanding to keep going. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm kind of modifying the Wheel of the Year spread, and I'm just going to look at each month that we've got coming up in 2023 and what that energy might hold. So let's start with the first 6 months, and I am going to be pulling purely from the major arcana cards. So you have the exact same first card as pile number 1 for your January. Honestly, this never surprises me. I feel like this might have even happened in last year. And really, January having the Chariot, it's all about like pivoting. It's asking, which direction am I going in? Which direction do I want to go? So your compass might be pointed north, it might be pointed a certain direction, but during the month of January, you might be redirecting, you might be changing course based on, something that you figure out, new intentions that you set, goals that you want to hit. So not surprising at all for January. And then February, we have the Fool card. So to me, this is the energy, very similar to pile 1. If you were at all attracted to pile number 1, I feel like every single card so far has been similar. So the Fool card is all about, okay, I've set the intentions in January. Now I'm just walking forward with eyes wide open. I feel like the Fool card in a good way is all about starting new chapters, new beginnings, not knowing what to expect here with her like bandana on her eyes. You might not see what's coming next. You might not see the future. You might not know which direction you're headed in, what the outcome is going to be, but she's so happy. She's excited. She's excited for a new adventure. But that doesn't necessarily mean we know what's coming up. Again, with that Perseverance card, already seeing that theme kind of come out in February. However, this isn't a bad thing. This is just, we're going to go forward full steam ahead, but we might not know exactly what the future holds. And then we get into, all right, y'all, this is weird. I shuffled. These are like all the same cards as pile 1. Okay. And then we get into the third month. Like, I even feel like it's the same order. And I'm just asking my guides, like, if I'm not shuffling right or if this is right. And they're telling me it's right, that there's just a lot of similarities with the energy going on. Okay, so I'm going to go with it. The third card, March, being the High Priestess. This is about trusting your intuition. So I actually am getting this a little differently because we have the Perseverance card here. I kind of feel like these first 3 months are going to be a lot slower. You might not feel like things are coming to fruition. And this third month here, I'm kind of getting that you guys, like, some of you might really be frustrated throwing your hands up in the air. And because of that, like, your only fallback is on your intuition. Like, everything you've been doing, all the energy that you've been putting in, you're just not seeing those results yet. And it's requiring you to really have faith, like to trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust the intention that you set kind of at the beginning of the year. And you're just relying off of intuition only during this month. So I actually feel like this is going to be a harder month because sometimes when we try really hard to manifest the things that we want or accomplish the things that we want and we're just not seeing the results, it's very easy to just like give up or completely go in a different direction, one that's maybe not suited for us. So in March, really remember the theme of perseverance and to use your intuition during this month to just keep going and like trust the universe. Like, I'm seeing a lot of conversations with our guides of like, why am I not seeing this yet? And they're like, it's on its way, it's on its way. And you are just having to purely trust that it's going to happen. All right, and then we get into, oh my God, this is so weird. It's not weird, but it's weird. And I am only pulling from 22 cards, but still, the same as pile number 1 is my point here. Not exact same positioning. And then this is April and we have the Death card. I'll be honest, I am seeing some relationships die. I am also seeing pets pass away. It does feel like death in the literal sense, and I do not normally like to predict that. And I don't want anyone to be scared of that. Like, that's not going to be like somebody, there might not be like an accident. It could always be something where, maybe you've had a family member who has been sick for a while. Like, it's already coming, that kind of energy. I think for the rest of us, the Death card is a closing of a chapter. Like, we're done. We're putting the past behind us. I honestly feel like for the majority of you, it's putting the past of like not seeing the results or not trusting our intuition during this process. It's like the end of the previous 3 months. Like, you're finally starting to come out of this period of just like groping in the darkness and moving forward into actually seeing the start of some of your manifestations come to fruition. I really feel like this will be the turning point for you this year of like, all right, I'm not going to be so in the dark now. I feel like I have just a little bit more control. But death, I will say this card, it's kind of like an in-between. You're getting a little taste of the past still and a little taste of the future. All right, and then we have the moon card. This was not in the last pile. And the moon card for May. The moon to me is all about like revealing what's hidden. It's like taking off the mask of situations or maybe of yourself to reveal the truth that's underneath. I really just want to see what this next card is. I feel like there's a lot more going on here that I'm not. Because there's a definite shift here. And I'm trying to see, like, I feel like I'm seeing some of you, this is a positive shift of, I'm just seeing, like, money stuff, like, lots of money stresses. Let me just say what I'm getting. Sorry. When I read the pick-a-card readings, I'm reading so many people at once. It's like I'm getting snippets from several different groups, but I can't mix those together because they're different, like, groups, if that makes sense. So for some of you, this moon card, like, I'm definitely seeing it be, like, you standing in your own energy and finally, like, claiming what is yours. Like, putting your foot down, setting boundaries, like, really saying no to whatever was going on before. Like, I keep hearing, like, taking back your freedom. I don't know if like your job was taking advantage of you. Like, it's that kind of energy, and it's you waking up and saying, no, no more. Also, like, being way more vulnerable and way more honest. Like, something about this month of you walking into this next chapter, you're being a more vulnerable, more honest, more authentic version of yourself. And I just feel like a lot of people are going to take issue with it. Like, that's a lot of what I'm seeing for that month. The moon card being, like, again, taking off the mask, being your true self, or just, like, revealing the truth. Like, you might wake up and realize on the opposite end of this, like, oh my gosh, you know, the reason why I'm running into all of these obstacles is because I'm at this job, or I'm around this person, or I'm in this relationship, and this is what I finally need to, like, let go of. Or maybe you've already let go of it, and now you're finally seeing, like, your true self. Is there anything else I'm missing with this card? I'm just hearing that this is going to be scary. Like, this month, it's all going to be in your head. Like, you're going to be worried about what other people think, about what society says you should do. And I think because of that, we get into this month, which we have the Hierophant card, which is all about, like, people in charge. Like, I feel like this could go one of two ways. For some of you, you might fall back into wanting to people please, wanting to stay at that job, stay in that relationship that doesn't quite work out for you. Like, there's definitely a test here. And there's something enticing about wanting to go backwards in the month of June. You want to go backwards. You maybe feel a little uncomfortable with how, like, I feel like you could see the future more in April. Or, what is this? May. In May, you could see the potential of where you could be. And for some of you, that might scare you. And so in June, I feel like if you don't kind of heed the advice or don't stay on top of those fears, you could fall back into letting others control you. However, I don't feel like that's everyone. I do feel like some of you are going to step into that position of power. You are going to be the master of your own time and energy, so that, you know, you're not looking at it as this person or this thing is taking over my time, my work, my relationship. No, I'm in charge of it. There's no one above me that can control this situation or, like, take advantage of me. I feel like the majority of you are going to lean into that. The ones, I feel like if you, like don't remember the advice and just kind of press forward. And again, like don't focus on shadow work or like going into your emotions or fears around this time, then you probably might again fall into giving up your energy. It really feels like, I keep seeing this around like work and relationships. And I think, again, we have to remember the theme here is perseverance. Like, you might step out of this closet and say, this is the future I can have. This is the real me. This is what I want to be. And you might not have any support. You might not see any results, but you have to remind yourself, I have to persevere. I have to set the intention that this is the new normal. This is me. This is my authentic self. And this is what I want. And you might not see the results in a month. It might not be overnight, but the key here is to persevere so that you can start taking control, like taking back your energy. Like that's a lot of like the things that I keep hearing. All right, so let's look at the last 6 months of December. I'm going to shuffle these back in just to get a more accurate reading because again, we are only pulling from the majors. All right, and then in July, right? Yes, okay. In July, we have the Emperor. You are setting boundaries. So I feel like this is kind of like a rehashing. Like we are reminding ourselves, okay, what do I need to do to set boundaries to take care of myself? And I'm hearing this as like it's not necessarily that you're in like this most awful job where like you're getting like traumatized or something. Like maybe you are for some of you, but like this feels more like you've been living in an uncomfortable situation and you have the ability to make it more comfortable. And it feels like something like I'm feeling like the energy of this pile is like, I can just grin and bear it. And like, I'm used to this. I can just keep going, like whatever. But I really don't think that's what this is about. I think that this is about taking it to the next level of saying, no, I'm not just here to be uncomfortable. I'm here to be comfortable and thrive. Like pile number 2, you've been living in this state of acceptance for too long. And this year is about understanding that you can have more and it doesn't take a whole lot. It just is a big like mental hurdle for you. And so I think in July, we're remembering these lessons. We're trying to put in place these boundaries. And these boundaries, like, I think what I'm getting a lot with this card is like, you feel like you can't set them because they're silly. Like, you're like, well, this job isn't bad. Like, nobody has hurt me. Nobody's like made me mad. Like, there's nothing wrong, but you also want better. And that feels weird because you feel like the only time you can ask for change is if it's really, really bad. I think that's kind of what I'm like feeling. And so the Emperor here is you're deciding, no, like I want my life to be more than just okay. I want it to be great. So where do I need to set up these boundaries so that I can have that reality? Oh, love it. And then we get into, what the hell is this? August. Yes, I can't do like the counting when I'm reading. So we have the Strength card. Gosh, y'all, I feel like it's almost like every other month you tell the universe, I want this. And then you get a little bit of like, are you sure? Are you sure you want it? And this is, again, that perseverance. So you might have set some serious boundaries. I'm literally seeing things like I just saw like a tower falling apart. Maybe that's the tower moment of the tarot, like that card. However, I'm seeing this as, this is I think the tower card, they're giving it to me because they're like, that would also be here right now. And I feel like this month is really going to be tough because this is when everything falls apart. And that's because, you finally said no to it. You said, this tower isn't working. I'm going to take it apart. For some of you, if you haven't been setting the boundaries, following the advice, this tower might be falling apart anyway. So this month, it's really going to be important for you to dive deep into this inner strength, dive deep into this theme of perseverance and just continuing to hold the vision. Like 2023 for pile number 2, you guys need to hold the vision of what you want. And for me, like what I'm feeling like that is just like, standing up more and demanding more like happiness, more comfortability, more slowness, more money, more relationships that are beneficial to you. Like, you've been taking subpar for too long, and next year is all about stepping up and saying, no, I want better. But I think sometimes when we tell the universe what our intentions are, what we want, sometimes they throw the old at us. They throw the opposite to be like, are you sure? You sure you don't want some of this crap still? And you might have to really dig your heels in and say, no, I do not want this. And so with this strength card, again, it's like, it's the perseverance. You're going to have to really dig deep and understand that what is happening for a reason. Like, I'm just going to share this. Like, I keep seeing a person in my life that this is happening to them. Like, maybe this happened to them like a month or two ago, where it seemed like everything was falling apart. However, now that the dust has settled, this person I know has been manifesting the crap out of some new amazing things, but they would not have seen it in this moment, but they needed to clear out the energy so they could be where they're at right now. Like, that's the energy of, what is that month? Why can't I remember these months? July, August, September? No. June, July, August, sorry, August. I'm so glad I shoveled these back in. And then we're back to this Hierophant card. This is like, I know I said this in the, or maybe I said it in the last pile, but for this pile, it feels like the idea of a planet going retrograde. So bear with me for a minute. So when a planet goes retrograde, what happens is it appears in the sky like it's moving backwards. But really what's happening is, like, think about if you are on a train and there is a woman riding a horse outside of the train and they're up ahead of the train. And the train is going faster, you're catching up to that horse and that girl. So it looks like they're slowing down, getting closer. It kind of looks like they're moving backwards, but it's not that they're moving backwards. It's that you are like moving quicker and you're surpassing them. And so when a planet goes retrograde, that's kind of the idea. I loved that imagery. I got that from the Moonology book from Yasmin Boland. And what happens with retrograde is that person on the horse eventually catches back up to you and surpasses the train again. So it kind of has this like backward motion and then forward motion again. And basically each time that this planet passes you, you are being reminded of the same lesson. And so it passes you, I think, like technically like 3 times or 2 times or something like that. And so each time you're relearning the lesson, but you're getting better and better about it. And this is like what this year feels like with this Hierophant card. It's you got a taste of it, and then you had to step back, reset your boundaries, remember to trust again, and then you're back here. So in September, you're like, oh yeah, this is what it feels to be in charge. And so I feel like we're coming back to the Hierophant card similar to whatever position, whatever month it was in before. I want to say June. If I'm wrong, adjust that. But it's like you are coming back to that moment in June where you feel on top of things. But it's even better. It's even easier this time. So I'm really excited to see the rest of these. September. So this is October. And we have the Lovers card. You guys are just doing this like seesaw balance of like remembering to take care of yourself, remembering to trust the universe. This month is a little bit more about remembering to work with yourself and not against yourself. So October might be a month of like really understanding, okay, I have control of this situation. I've really persevered. What do I need to make sure I'm not burnt out, that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm working with myself? Like, I really see the Lovers card as like loving yourself, putting the time and the energy back into you so that you can set boundaries, so that you can, feel strong and in control. If you're not doing the inner work of filling up your own cup, then, a lot of this stuff is a lot harder to manage. So in October, you might have some moments of really needing to remember, how do I take care of myself? How do I put myself first? I just heard, you're coming off of the craziness that was like the summer and you're slowing down a little bit more, and you might have forgotten how to like put yourself first in a lot of ways. Ooh, and then in November, we have the High Priestess. That was so cool. I just saw an image of like a car slowing down, like they were driving for a really long time and they're about to slow down to park. And this is like the energy of November. You're slowing down. And I feel like you know that the craziness of this year is behind you. And it's like, oh gosh, I can breathe. And I think the High Priestess card is like you looking back and saying, okay, I've learned the lesson. I know that I got to take care of myself. I've learned it. We're good. And now I'm just going to let go. Like I'm seeing this card more as like a surrender of I'm not going to make any plans. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I'm like hearing the bare minimum, not as if that's like a bad thing, but just not overextending yourself. And I think this is you, like I'm hearing like adrift, floating. And because of it, again, you might have to use your intuition a little bit more. But I think you're coming back to your intuition, honestly, to gain new insights, to work with your guides, to figure out what's next for me. Because you kind of are like, I don't care what happens next. This was kind of rough. It doesn't have to be rough for everybody, but the energy is, I can breathe again. I'm just going to let the universe tell me what's next, and I'm not going to try to push anything. I think that's kind of the energy. The last pile ended with the same card as well. Interesting. So we have in December the Empress card. And this makes so much sense. Like this is the car parked. This is like, I am done with this lesson. The Empress is, I call her the boss bitch. Like she manifested all of these pomegranates. She manifested whatever it was throughout her year. You know, maybe for some of you that's getting rid of relationships that didn't work. Maybe that's making your career a better place to be. Like whatever it was, you are basking in the goodness of this year. And I'm not hearing, honestly, that it's very like physical stuff. I feel like it's more relationship. Like you're looking back and you're like, wow, I cleaned house. I cleaned house mentally. I cleaned house with the people around me. I cleaned house with my career. Like not saying that everyone is going to like change careers, but it feels more like putting your foot down more at your career. Maybe it's a raise. Maybe it's, you know, more time off. Maybe it's just more respect. But whatever it is, you're looking back at this year and you're saying, I did that. And I did that because I persevered. I did that because I understood that I had to keep going even in those dark moments where I didn't see what was next, but I held my vision. And now you're just enjoying it, honestly. And this is such a, like, it's interesting because both piles I feel like have like a solid ending to the year on the actual like December, which is interesting because I feel like when I did 2022, it wasn't that way. It was kind of like the story continues. So honestly for 2023, and I'm going to pull some more cards, I feel like pile number 2, this is really about demanding more for yourself. It is the Empress card. This is your year. It's all about asking for this energy and being able to be your own Empress. All right, let's go ahead and pull some oracle cards for this pile. So the first thing I'm going to ask is what is the overall obstacle to 2023 for you? And it's your ability to elevate your expectations. It's your ability to push the ceiling higher mentally. Like you might feel like you can't, you know, reach XYZ, but it's all in your head. So this says, if you can't see it, raise your standards, elevate your expectations. You have unlimited potential. And really this is about persevering and understanding that the only obstacle between you and your goals for 2023 is you keeping yourself small. That's it. You know, when you put out to the universe that I demand more, I'm going to raise my expectations, even though I don't necessarily know how that's going to work or what it's going to look like. You know, it's the intention. It's putting that bar higher and expecting it to be raised. I love that. And we got a very similar card for pile number 1. All right. And then the next question that I was going to ask is like, what is the overall advice for 2023. And I think, you know, that card too is also an advice card. Rebirth, reinvent yourself, give life to your dreams, create a new reality. I love this energy. So I would say in regards to this being advice, like really set 2023 as turning a new chapter. Like, I think I didn't give enough time to that very first card of like, it's all about intention. You know, this next year is going to be about your intention and how well can you hold to it, hold that vision, I called it. And I feel like, I hope I'm describing like intention well enough. Like, I consider your intention to be like your compass, and it's the direction that you want to go. And a lot of times people think that setting your intention is figuring out all the steps in between, how it's going to work. But no, it's the end goal. It's the end goal, and you have to let go. You have to surrender the outcome. You have to surrender how you're going to get there. And I think sometimes we focus so much on those middle steps and we lose sight of like, well, where is it that I want to be at the end of this? And so when you're setting intentions, it's not, oh, I want a new house, right? It's how do I want to feel when I have this new house? Because that's what I'm ultimately asking for. So if you want to make twice as much money as you did this year as you did last year, it's not that you're trying to manifest that number of dollars. It's that you are asking yourself, what will that amount of money give me? What is that feeling that it'll give me? Maybe it's financial freedom. Maybe it's more time, you know, with myself or my family. So it's not that you're actually trying to manifest the money like you are, but what is the vision? What is the emotion behind it? That's what we really want to focus on, probably for January, so that you can really look at this as a rebirth moment. And again, I think you need to have this vision, you need to have this intention, this goal of like, what is my new life going to look like? And again, this doesn't mean you have to change everything. It could just be like one big thing on your list. You might not even know what it is. You can ask your guides for clarity. But I feel like most people kind of know where they want to go, what they do want to change. As long as you have that starting vision, I think this is the thing that you're going to come back to anytime you're struggling and you have to remind yourself to persevere. Again, you might not understand how it's going to work, when it's going to work, so you just have to hold the vision, hold the end goal. I feel like throughout 2023, you might have to remind yourself, I can't control the how, I can't control the when. I'm just going to, again, hold the vision. This is what I want. At the end of the day, I want that financial freedom. I want more time with my family. Okay. And the next card I want to pull is how can we thrive in 2023? Interesting. So we have the polarity card. Hang on. Polarity. Integrate your shadow side. There can be no light without dark. Understand the law of polarity. So with this card, I feel like how you can thrive during 2023 is by doing the inner work, doing the shadow work, as a lot of woo-woo people call it. And really, that's like just facing the fears. It's facing the darkness. It's facing the emotions that we don't want to face, and understanding that the two can coexist. Like, you can feel really crappy about a situation, but still, you know, feel also really good about it. You can have really good things going on in life and have really bad things going on in life. But the key here is that you're not ignoring one or the other. Both are part of your experience in the year of 2023. I'm just asking if there's anything else I'm missing with this card. And I really just feel like it's saying that, like, you're not going to go through the year and everything's going to be perfect. Like, there's going to be down times. There's going to be times that suck. And again, you can't ignore it. You have to understand that in those dark moments, that's how you change. That's how you get better. That's how maybe you just at the minimum see, you know, the gratefulness that you might have for when it is good. The key here is just not to ignore both. It's to integrate both. And I'm going to pull 2 more cards. The first one I want to ask is, how can you manifest in 2023? And this is just like anything you're looking for. How can you manifest? We got chills. Upon my flesh, within thy bones, quivers a crawling frozen in numbness. Shall I ignore or shall I bestow it? A frozen knowing looks back at thy soul. I can't remember if I pulled this for the first pile, but with this card, I like, the first thing I heard was clairsentience. So maybe rely on your clairsentience a little bit more during this next year, because maybe your guides will communicate to you through that more. I'm also hearing like taking care of your body is going to be important as well, because it's really hard to trust your intuition, to hear your guides, to, you know, honestly do anything if you're not taking good care of yourself. There was something else though that I was getting when I was reading this. Oh, so chills. This is my Yule theme deck, and Yule, Christmas time, this is all about kind of, you know, the days are shortest, the nights are longest, it's cold, it's dark, we're waiting for the sun to come back. And so around that, like, symbology, winter is about hibernation, it's about pausing. And I'm really feeling like how you can manifest this year is remembering to pause, to go inward, and to focus like on, again, the shadow work is kind of like what I was hearing. It's understanding that sometimes you need to hibernate, sometimes you need to pull back. It's not always go, 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 go. You can't always like figure out what your guides are saying. You can't always like figure out the next steps when you're in that like hyperactive zone. So you might really have to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? You might have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You might have to have a lot of discipline in this next month of really slowing down in order to figure out what's next. So when things are just not going as planned, slow down, go inwards to figure out what should come up next for you. All right, and then we're gonna use this last card. Because we talk about the psychic ability a lot on my channel, and I hope that you're all strengthening it and working with it, I'm asking how you can use your intuition this year. And we got the Father Christmas card. And Father Christmas is all about giving and taking. And I think it's so weird how close pile 1 and pile 2 are. That to me, it doesn't say that like we picked wrong or that like my readings aren't different enough. It to me just says there's a lot of the same themes going on in the collective. So Father Christmas, like, I look at that symbolically as like giving too much of yourself. Sorry y'all, my card filled up, so we're back. So what I really think this card is all about in regards to using our intuition, it's to make sure that we're using our intuition to constantly be checking in on ourselves. Is our cup filled? Are we giving too much? Are we not giving enough to ourselves? Are we overgiving to everyone else? It's really about striking that balance. And a lot of times, you know, we get into like crazy moments in our life and we feel like we just have to figure it out all ourselves. But remember this year that you can use your psychic ability to sit down and ask, like, how can I find more of a balance here? How can I give more to myself? Like, how can I get away from this situation that's draining me? Maybe you don't have any solutions. Like, you don't have to come up with the answers all with your logic mind. Like, you can ask your guides. You have a spiritual team here to help you. And I am also hearing that, like, just giving to yourself a lot this year, like, I don't know, little things. Maybe it's like a nice warm bath. Maybe it's getting that tarot deck that you've always wanted, you know? Doing those little things for yourself tells your intuition, hey, I'm important. Hey, I value myself. And because of that, like, you put yourself first. And again, that's the energy that we want, especially this year when we're focusing on needing to persevere so much. So thank you so much, pile number 2, for watching this reading. I hope that this helps you throughout the year of 2023. Feel free to come back to it at any time to reference the months. Even at the end of the year, I would watch it back through just to see what came to be and what didn't come to be. All the decks that I used, I have linked down below if you want to go ahead and purchase them. They are affiliate links, so there's no additional charge to you. However, I get a small percentage from each sale that is made. But yeah, if you are new here, remember to subscribe. Although I do some pick a cards here and there, I would like to do more. But other than that, I do teach about psychic ability, the intuition, and how you can develop that. And if you really enjoyed this reading, just know that over on Patreon, I do monthly pick a card readings for the group. So if you really want to know what each month is looking like, I do like a pick a card for December, January, February, March, all throughout the year. So if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and just know you can always book a private reading with me through my website. Thank you so much for watching. Bye! Alrighty, welcome back, pile number 3. Let's see what theme we've got in store for you for 2023 using my Yule Oracle deck. Awesome, and we have the Forest. Let me just pull this up. Hopefully you can see that. It is without question a place of mystery. Whispers of powers you've forgotten, let thy strength call from beneath the ground and remind you, dear child, you are magic. I have honestly not pulled this card yet, so I'm just going to look at the book really quick because this is a new deck to me. Strength, patience, grounding. I was definitely going to go with grounding. Not surprised that that would be a theme in regards to the Forest. I'm just going to read this. It's time to dig deeper roots, find your sacred soul, and build a stronger foundation. Walk through any forest and you will see ancient trees rising high into the sky. But they didn't start off this way. Delicate roots had to dig deep into the earth to prepare these massive trees to stand tall for years to come. Even harsh winters and brutal storms could not bring them down. The Forest card represents long-term planning but also lasting power and influence. Pulling this card is a positive sign that you will be recognized for your efforts and commitment. Furthermore, continue with what works. There's no need to take risks at this time. Honestly, my guides just use the word filler year. Now, I don't want that to be like a sad thing, but this to me is just like doing the same thing, like continuing to grow, continuing to do what you've been doing. Like, I feel like with pile number 1 and 2, there was a lot of big like changes that needed to happen, but pile number 3, this is the energy of just like keep building, keep growing the trees, keep growing the manifestations in your life, just keep going. And remembering to ground yourself in the process, like take it easy, take it slow, there's no need to rush. I kind of love that for this pile. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to kind of do a abbreviation of the Wheel of the Year spread. I am actually, if you're watching this at the time that this goes up and a little bit after, I am doing private Wheel of the Reading spreads. If you want to get a more personalized version of your year, you can book that through my website. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one card for each month of 2023 just to kind of get the general theme. And what I'm doing is I'm only pulling from the major arcana cards from the tarot. So let's start with January. And we have Justice. To me, Justice, this card is all about striking a balance. And because I pulled it in reverse, this to me says we might be doing this seesaw, this wobbliness of like trying to put the pieces back together. I'm hearing just particularly after the holidays, after just the craziness that was 2022. I feel like you have some big audacious goals, but you're really wanting to get started on them very quickly. But you got to remember to slow down and keep a good balance, because that's not the energy you can carry throughout the year. You really have to, again, go slow, go steady. So I do feel like by the end of the month, you're going to be like, okay, yeah, I can't go 110. Okay, and then we have the Hierophant in reverse for February. I love that energy. Like, the first immediate thing I heard is like, you aren't taking crap from anyone. Like, I am seeing a lot of you, especially those of you that own your own business, like, you really putting in the time and the energy into your business and like doing what you want to do. This is specifically like not listening to other people, not like doing things by the status quo, doing what you want to do. I know I'm gonna just put these up right so you can like see the imagery, but these two were basically in reverse. And I know I shouldn't read them in reverse, but I really like to. So February, I really feel like you're going to see a lot of like quick manifestations coming true. Like, I'm hearing like financially it's going to be a good month for a lot of you. And that's because you've kind of got back into the balance of things and you're doing what you want to do. And I feel like this energy, you've already like been doing this. This is normal for you. There's nothing different here. You're just keep on keeping on, if that makes sense. And then we have March, yay, and we have the Sun card, which was also in reverse. Okay, and I just heard it's like you have so many good things going on. Like, pile number 3, the energy here is like you guys are safe, you're protected, you have all of your wants and needs met, but sometimes you doubt that, because again, this one was in reverse, and I heard like things are so good, but sometimes you can't see it. So in March, like, I feel like you have a lot to be grateful for. A lot of manifestations happening. Maybe not as much manifestations as like trees being planted, seeds being planted, but you have a lot to be grateful for. And because of that, like, you shouldn't be so worried about what you don't have or where you're not at yet. Like, you have so many good things going on. And this month is just kind of like that self-sabotage of things going well, but like maybe you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, maybe you're questioning things or just not thinking that you deserve it. So in March, really remember to practice gratitude, practice focusing on what abundance you do have, because life is good. And I really feel like this energy leaks this way and that way. I do feel like this is going to be a good year for you, at least a good first half of the year. Yes, because of that Sun card. And then we have April. And I don't know if, I might not have like edited it in when I was pulling all these cards, but this one like spun in circles when I pulled it out. And this is the Star card. This is all about hope, optimism, joy, like feeling really good. Like, honestly, I know that this card was about laying the foundations. I feel like the past couple of years, pile number 3, you've been laying the foundations and you've been seeing it manifest. And now I'm just hearing like consistency. And sometimes that consistency freaks you out because you're, again, like waiting for that other shoe to drop, but it's okay. And I think in this month over here, April, this is when you start to really get past that self-sabotage and you're like, I'm good, I'm okay. Wow, oh my gosh, I have new hopes, new visions, new ideas of the future, because, you know, you finally let go of the fear that it could all fall apart. So in the month of April, it's almost like because you've let go of those fears, you're really seeing even more possibilities of what could be laid out. Because again, you're not like being held back by this self-sabotage. And then in May, we have the Emperor. And it was in reverse, so to me, we might be struggling a little bit with setting our boundaries. Honestly, I feel like whatever the visions that you have, I feel like you're coming up with new ideas. You're getting really excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this year. You're so excited about it, but you have to remember in the next month not to take it too far too fast. Again, it's the slow planting. It's grounding yourself. It's working on it one step at a time. And because of that, the Emperor shows up to remind us, like, we gotta remember our boundaries. We gotta remember to take care of ourselves, to have a work-life balance. Like, pile number 3, this feels heavily in regards to like work, career, like your creative ambitions. Getting like a lot of like female entrepreneurs in this like pile. If you are, you'll have to leave me like an emoji down below. I know everyone does that with their pick a cards. What emoji could we use? Let's leave it the unicorn in the reading down below, the comments down below, if you are like an entrepreneur, like run your own business and you really resonate with this. Also reversed. Okay. So yeah, did I explain that all the way? The Emperor, like, you might just have to remind yourself to slow down, have the boundaries, have the consistency, and not just go 110. And then in June, I just felt like a drop in energy of like you not seeing the manifestations pan out yet. And so you're getting a little nervous again because you can't see the future, you can't see what's going to happen, and you're stressing out. But with the Wheel of Fortune card, just remember that fortune is on the other end of this journey. You can't see it, you can't control it, you don't know how it's going to happen. But I love the Wheel of Fortune card because it says like fortune will happen as long as you keep your ship, your compass pointed in the right direction. Because if you let your fears drive this ship, yeah, you're going to set the intention that it's not going to work out. So you really have to be mindful of your thoughts in the month of June, because that's going to guide your ship. It's going to guide the direction you're steering. So if you're letting that fear jump in of like, oh, I don't know how this is going to pan out, I don't know if this is going to work out. This feels like a new venture, new relationship, new something. And if you let, again, that fear kind of sabotage you, you're going to just be putting out an intention unknowingly of like, oh, it's not going to work out. Oh, what if this, what if that? And sometimes when we're constantly focused on that self-sabotage, it like manifests because we're thinking about it 24/7. I have this as like an affirmation in my phone, and I just want to read it to you because like that's the energy that I'm getting for this. Self-sabotage is when we are so obsessed of what we fear that we create the experience because you can't imagine anything else. So like that's what could go wrong here. I don't feel like that's the majority of us, but it might be good to remind yourself during that month, don't fall into that trap. Again, set that intention in the direction that you want, set the outcome. And you might not see, again, how it's going to pan out right now, but it's okay. You got to trust that it's going to happen. I mean, look at what you've manifested so far. Like, it's going to just happen again. But you have to remember that it takes time to plant those trees. It takes time. Patience, growth. That was like your whole theme of this year. Okay, let's look at the next 6 months. I'm going to say this now in case I forget, but when I pulled November, I felt like there was a lot of cards that I could pull, so I feel like November is going to be a little bit of a mixed bag for all of us. So let's take this energy into July. And I will say, too, another thing that I was hearing as I was shuffling was that this year is like the year of trying not to get too far ahead of yourself. Because I feel like you are already starting to see your manifestation potential. You've already been manifesting things on a bigger scale than you ever have before, and you're getting excited, and it's like this energy of more. But it's remembering to like slow down and be grateful for how far you've come. Like, think about old version of you, 5 years ago version of you. Like, wouldn't they have just loved to be sitting in the energy that you are sitting in now? You know, that's kind of the energy that's coming through. Like, patience. Okay, so we have in July the Hierophant again, in reverse. Okay. This to me is kind of saying, I feel like we're still struggling a little bit. I feel like we might still be giving too much power to other people. And I feel like it's power in the sense of like, oh, my manifestation, again, like pulling from that Wheel of Fortune card last month. It's for those of us who are still not seeing that yet, we're starting to question our own intention, our own intuition on this. And we're saying, oh, shoot, well, what would this person want me to do? Or, you know, it's like that energy of like, instead of trusting myself on what I want to create, you're worried about, well, what do other people want me to create? Like, that's kind of the energy that I'm getting. This is giving away too much power to what everyone else like says, think, or does. So I think it's important in the month of July to really pull back and, again, come back to the energy of you being the boss, asking yourself, what do I want to do? Not what does everyone else think I should do, you know? Okay, and then we have the Chariot for August. And I think you guys have gotten the most reverse cards out of all these piles. And when that happens, like with these pick a card readings, I kind of feel like what's going on is like a portion of you will take it one way, a portion of you will take it the other way. Like maybe some of you won't struggle so much with this because you're listening to the advice, because you're like taking the steps around this. While others of you, you might not be listening, you might forget. And because of that, you know, a lot of this will be more of a struggle than it should be. Because in the month of August, we are pivoting. We are changing directions. I feel like we're finally kind of getting over this like slump of giving away our power to other people, like letting other people make our decisions for us. Maybe it's just the energy of like taking back kind of your power as the boss. This is just very like career focused for me when I'm seeing this, but just know that this could apply to other areas of your life, like a relationship. Like you're really taking back control with the Chariot card. You're saying, no, this is the direction I'm going. And you're kind of back in that power position that you were at the beginning of the year. You've reminded yourself what was your original intention. What do you want to do? You understand that you're in charge. You understand that things take time, that you can't control everything, but you're emboldened because you know what your vision is. You know the end goal again. Like lots of clarity. Oh, love it. And then, July, August, September. September, we have the Temperance card. This, to me, is getting those rewards from those few months of kind of like back and forth tumultuousness. Like, you might have gone through some stuff that really like forced you to change and maybe forced your business to change, your relationships. And this is the month where you really see why that happened. You see the benefits. You're really like, oh my goodness, that all happened for a reason. And it's actually for my betterment. It's here to improve my life. And it's not just realizing it, but it's putting it to use. Because I do feel like you see a little bit of that in the previous month. But this month is, wow, this new strength, this new lesson I've learned, I'm actually implementing it now. And because of that, I'm this changed person. And I feel even more in control, even more in power of my life. Okay, I'm so curious how this ends. Yes! Okay, so this is October, and we've got the Devil reversed. So this to me says there's going to be a lot of fears that come up this month. There's going to be a lot of triggers. There's going to be a lot of the stuff that we've had to learn from this year, whatever that might be. Maybe it is, again, learning patience, learning to not give your power to everyone else. But because of that, I pulled this in reverse, which is good. It's saying you're on top of those fears. You're not letting fear drive the car. You're saying, fear, you're allowed to be here, but you're taking the back seat. I'm in control. I'm the driver. And so you are really conquering your fears in October. And I'm hearing that that's important because of what comes next. Oh, no. I haven't looked at these cards. And then we get the Tower card. Yay! Oh, and hey, I did say that, didn't I? I said November was like a mixed bag because there was a couple cards that I wanted to pull. So this might not be everybody. If you're really on top of this and if you're looking at this each month and you're like, I'm in a good spot, I don't think you're going to go from this really good energy into a Tower moment. Like maybe, you never know. You can always be in a really good place and something totally random happens that, you know, is completely out of your control. And I am hearing that that might happen for some of you. And you can't control that. But this is how you're responding to it. The Tower moment is always a good thing in the end. In the moment, it's never fun. It's that the foundation of something is falling apart. Honestly, though, even though I am seeing this card, I don't feel like it's a negative. Like, sometimes when this card comes out, it's like, oh, no. This, to me, feels like either you have a Tower moment, but you breeze through it like it's no problem. Like, you've avoided it because you followed this advice. Or if you've just been struggling with this all year and you've been, like, pushing through resistance and not stopping to, like, examine it. I do think it could be a potentially like a potential issue, but I really don't feel like this is a big bad thing for you all. And I'm just asking intuitively because I'm like, what is the positive of the Tower card? And I'm just going to go with my gut. This might not be the correct, interpretation of the Tower card, but to me, this is you realizing, oh, I've rebuilt the foundation and it's good. It may not be completely built yet, but it's, wow, I took all the hard work and I decided to build my own tower. I did not wait for it to fall apart. I noticed where it wasn't working and I restructured it. I think that's the majority of us in November. Again, knowing that it could be a mixed bag, that a lot of us, stop. See, this is why I felt like it was good. You have the Sun card. And were you guys the one that got the Sun card just a moment ago too? I don't know. I've been doing so many piles that they're all getting mixed up. But the Sun card, to me, again, with your year ending this way, with this being in this year, the second half of the year, like, the Sun card says it's all going to be okay. No matter what's going on, everything, like, the only card that could negate the Tower card is the Sun card. So to me, this says you're going to be ending the year on a high note. You are going to be seeing that optimism. We were maybe struggling with that earlier in the year of like being grateful for where we're at. Yeah, it was you guys. But now we're ending the year just like seeing that abundance, seeing the things that we're growing, seeing that we can't control the time, but that's okay because we've been not listening to other people. We've been taking care of ourselves. We've been, conquering our fears and rebuilding what doesn't work. Like pile number 3, if you guys aren't master manifestors already, you're going to be at the end of year 3. Year 3? Year 2023. Awesome. I think you guys honestly have one of the best looking piles. I loved this energy. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just pull some more oracle cards for you just to get a little bit more information about 2023. So for pile number 3, the first thing I want to ask is, what is like the biggest obstacle overall for this year that we have? And we have beloved. Interesting. So we have prepare for your life partner. Romance is returning to your relationship. Believe you are lovable. I feel like this is coming through because I talked a lot about this in like relation to career. Maybe this year, all of those struggles that I was talking about is actually around like relationships or bringing in a new potential relationship. And I was seeing that when I was dealing out the first set of like 6-month cards. I was totally seeing someone bringing in a new relationship. And maybe it's one that it takes kind of the whole year to manifest, So if that is something on your list, I will say this might be confirmation that this is the year for that relationship to come through. Now, if you're not necessarily looking for a romantic relationship, this is about loving yourself. Like think about the Lovers card in the tarot. The biggest obstacle you might have this year is working with yourself, not against yourself. It's playing to your strengths. It's giving yourself what you need. It's filling up your cup so that you can show up and, do all of the work that we've talked about for this year. And that seems to be a big theme for all of these piles. It's just like giving to yourself. So the next thing I want to ask is, what is kind of the overall advice for 2023? Healer. And I feel like what we're doing is we're healing pile number 3, toxic thoughts. We're healing the need to go, go, go. We're healing the self-sabotage, the, doing everything that you think you need to do on other people's like plans. You have powerful healing gifts, have faith in your abilities, stay true to your path as a healer. For some of you who are like creative types, especially if you're in maybe a career where you might heal others in some sort of way, maybe this is a year of struggling and questioning, can I do this? Do I deserve to do this? Can I heal myself? And heal other people at the same time. So the biggest advice this year, again, if you weren't getting this from the non-relationship side, it's definitely about taking care of yourself, taking care of these thoughts. It doesn't feel so much like healing traumas, like maybe it will encompass that, but it's healing this need to, Like, it just feels like the energy of go, 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 of just not enjoying the in-between. It's, I gotta do, I gotta do, I gotta do, I gotta plant more seeds, not enjoy the ride along the way. And so the next card I want to ask is overall, how do we thrive in 2023? When we ask ourselves, how do I thrive in any situation? What does that look like? All three piles got this card. We need to raise our standards. We need to raise our expectations, our possibilities of what we think is possible in 2023. We're keeping ourselves limited mentally. Pile number 3, this is a lot mental for you all. So this is raise your standards, elevate your expectations. You have unlimited potential. So in 2023, if you want to push that ceiling, if you really want to thrive, you have to actively ask yourself, how do I expand? How do I move into allowing for more in my life? And where am I keeping myself small? Where am I holding myself back? And now I want to pull 2 final cards. The first one I want to pull is like overall in 2023, if we want to manifest something, anything, we want to manifest something, what do we need to know? We got the perseverance card. You just got to push through. I'm giggling because this was the theme of pile number 2. Like, all of these piles, I was thinking that there'd be a different theme. Like, there is to an extent between all of these piles, but I'm seeing a huge theme for 2023 between all 3 of these. And maybe if you were feeling all 3 piles, maybe watch them all, because I would not be surprised if there's a lot of crossover here. So again, if you want to manifest anything this year, it's about remembering to keep going. Like, for you all, pile number 3, it's giving up too early that's going to ruin your manifestations. It's like throwing in the towel too early. You got to keep the vision, hold the vision, keep, putting inspired action into it. Don't give up. I have like a friend that I think is just, maybe not a friend, but he was a friend from college, and he's the most positive, amazing guy, but he does not have this. And so I always think of him because he starts manifestations, he plants the seeds, but he doesn't hold through the hard times. And because of that, he's constantly shifting. He's constantly switching up careers, switching up jobs, switching up marketing. Like, he's just all over the place because he doesn't know how to be patient and just wait for one of these things to stick, And so, like, let's avoid that energy. If you want to manifest anything this year, you have to remember that there's going to be times where you can't see the manifestation growing, and you just got to trust. All right. And then the last card that I'm going to pull, because we talk so much about the psychic ability here on this channel, is how can you use your psychic ability this year to your advantage? How can you use your intuition this year? Oh, and we got Mother Mary. Into the arms of a mothering embrace swells a wisdom full of grace. In thy bosom where she whispers, sleeps the eye of winter. Oh, sorry, that's my phone, which I totally forgot to silence. So there might be a few interpretations of this, but the Mother Mary card, I have not pulled, so I looked this up. And the keywords are mother, nurturing energy, and wisdom. That we all have feminine energy. You cannot move forward without this force. Mother Mary is known as the seat of wisdom, and when she appears in your spread, she guides you to seek wisdom in the divine powers that be. So honestly, like, I'm hearing that this is trusting your own inner wisdom when it comes to your intuition, because I feel like there's going to be moments where you're just not connected to your intuition, but that doesn't mean you have your own wise inner wisdom that you can rely on. And I think at the end of the day, that is your intuition. That is like that gut feeling. For some of you though, I was definitely getting that connecting to like a motherly energy in 2023 will definitely help. Maybe that's actually like a goddess energy. Maybe that's Mother Mary for some of you. But I'm kind of getting the energy of like really form a pact with like a guide that has this nurturing mother energy. And maybe that will help with your intuition this next year. I will say I almost pulled another card, and it was Father Christmas. So to me, this is kind of the energy of like taking care of your inner child, working with energies that feel supportive, again, like motherly or fatherly. For some reason, I think that's needed for using your intuition this next month. And maybe that's literally you need mom and dad's advice sometimes, or maybe you don't have a mom and dad that you can go to, but somebody of that equivalent. You know, maybe that is going to help clear up your intuition throughout this year so that you can trust that inner wisdom that's coming through. Awesome. Well, I hope pile number 3 that you enjoyed this reading. All the decks that I've used, I have linked down below. If you are new here, please subscribe. I hope to do more of these readings. I'm getting a new camera in, actually. I should already be here by the time that you guys see this. So I want to make more pick a card readings, but I also do a lot of psychic development tips. And if you really enjoyed this, I do monthly readings over on Patreon. So monthly pick a cards for December, for January, for February. So if you really want a more play of your year next year, join us over on Patreon. We do a pick a card reading every single month. So if you enjoyed this reading, please give it a big thumbs up, and just know that you can always book a private reading with me anytime on my website. Alrighty, y'all, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! Now, if you've possibly jumped ahead to this chapter that I did not warn about, I realized I had pulled these runes for 2023 and forgot to talk about them at the beginning. So this is just kind of applying to every pile. I asked what was going on. And so we have, first we have the elk antler, the Elhaz. So this is about protection. So this year we definitely are going to be okay. We're safe, we're protected. I feel like I saw that kind of in every single pile. And then we have Uruz, which is next. And this is like the buffalo. And this is all about raw transformative energy. So unfortunately, I don't feel like 2023 is going to be calm for everybody. There are going to be some big transformations taking place. So that to me makes a lot of sense. And then we have, what is this one called? I know it's the torch. It's Kanaz. And the torch is all about shining light. Shining light on the things that need to be illuminated. So we might be discovering a lot of things. You know, maybe we're not necessarily understanding how to get rid of them or how to bring them in, but we're starting to see like what's actually needed. And then the next card we have is human card. Sorry, next rune we have is human being. This is Menus. And so this is like your physical body. So to me, I did see quite a big theme on taking care of our physical bodies. Honestly, I feel like that's like a theme that we've had to learn a lot from like post-pandemic, that like if we want to do anything, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our physical vessel. Okay, and the last 2 runes that I pulled are upside down. So when they're upside down, it's kind of like, what are we ignoring? What are we not paying attention to? And we have, I think it's Dia's door. Sorry if you can hear that noise. My neighbor's taking out their trash. And so door, we're probably ignoring some new pathways. We are ignoring or not seeing the doors that are opening for us in 2023. So you know, take that as advice. You know, when you go through 2023, really ask yourself, is there something new here? Is there like a new door being open? Are there new opportunities for me? And this is very similar of what we're not seeing. And this is the bee, which I know is not the correct name for it. It's Bricano, which also, like, to me is all about bosom. It's also about new beginnings. It's the start of spring. It's birch tree. It's about the goddess Frigga. It's about nurturing yourself in a sense of renewal. So another thing that we might not be ignoring that we should pay attention to for the year of 2023. Awesome. Well, thank you if you stuck around for watching this little rune section. So I hope 2023 is fantastic. Again, remember to like this video and give it a big thumbs up if you can. It helps out my channel a ton. And I will see you in our next pick a card reading. Bye.